Cryptocurrency mining. I've heard about it, you've heard about it, but is it worth it in 2022? And what's the best one to get? Since cryptocurrency has been on the decline these past couple of months and likely entering a bear market, it makes sense to actually branch out and look for alternative ways of making money. Now, it's hard to say it, but we might not see another bull run until 2024, and I don't want to spread any FUD. But the good thing is there are ways to prepare for when the market does decide to turn. Now, the crypto bull market I remember was back in December of 2017, where Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of $20,000, having started the year at $950. It was an insane 2,000 return for the year. A year later, in December 2018, it was back at $3,500, and it wasn't until around October of 2020 before we started to see the bull run return. This was 3.5 years later from the first one I experienced. With this in mind and seeing how Bitcoin reacts well to its halving, the next one is likely to happen around the 2024 halving, and the idea is that the halving will reduce the supply, and this time it will be to 96.875% mined, boosting the price astronomically. Now, the halving typically has a positive result on the price of Bitcoin a few months later, and that's what we're projected to see on the next one that comes. Now, in recent times, crypto prices have been on a steady decline since November, when Bitcoin hit record highs of close to $69,000 in 2021. Bitcoin is now currently trading at around $35,000, 50% down from its all-time high. Recently, though, there has been a lot of speculation that some investors are expecting another Bitcoin winter, where we won't see prices recover for at least another year. Now, I'm not trying to spread any FUD at all, although it is hard to say in today's market, but merely I want everyone to be aware of what's going on. So guys, in preparation for the inevitable crypto winter, I have decided to stockpile and test out 4 plug-and-play miners, with more on the way. So with all that being said, let's dive into today's video. What's going on, guys? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we'll be talking about the top 4 best plug-and-play crypto miners for passive income in 2022. Now, if you have been following the channel, you would know recently we got into cryptocurrency mining about 4 months ago, and we did this in preparation for the next inevitable crypto winter. I bought 4 different cryptocurrency miners to test out, and honestly, if you haven't noticed, so much is going on in the crypto market that I haven't actually had time to update you guys about how they are doing and if they're even worth buying. But today I'm going to answer those questions. Now, there are a few reasons why I actually wanted to mine cryptocurrency. I really wanted to create another income stream that was considered passive income, and I also wanted a method of earning cryptocurrency that I could really stockpile without having to pay too much attention to the market, as well as the last reason being able to collect more cryptocurrency when the crypto markets are down, as crypto would be at a discount. Now, the first and most popular miner I'd like to go over is the Helium Bobcat Miner 300, which we've shown here on the channel. Now, the Bobcat Miner 300 is a high efficiency miner hotspot for HNT, and it is compatible with Helium LongFi, an architecture that combines the leading wireless LoRaWAN protocol and the Helium Blockchain technology. Now, the Bobcat Miner 300 is also compatible with all LoRaWAN devices, which is something to keep in mind. Now, Helium itself minus the miner is a blockchain-based cryptocurrency that is attempting to decentralize wireless infrastructure around the world. And since Helium has gotten so popular, it has allowed for the use of multiple brands of Helium miners on their network. Now, the 2 most popular, which I have, include the Bobcat, which I've mentioned, and the minted goldspot miner. Now, the minted goldspot miner is the largest 8GB RAM miner, which means extra headroom for unforeseen blockchain challenges, as well as increasing your chances to be mining when others cannot. Now, Minted is a new brand created by Rack Wireless, solely focused on making crypto hardware accessible to everyday people. Now, Rack is the same company that made the OG hotspots for Helium and has since manufactured the largest number of hotspots deployed to date. Now, I went ahead and linked their website down in the description below so that you guys can check out their website, as well as stay up to date with the next miner drop. Now, the first thing you need to understand is when mining Helium, you provide connectivity for a class of Internet of Things, also known as IoT devices. Just by simply building wireless coverage, you provide connectivity for a class of Internet of Things, also known as IoT devices, by simply building wireless coverage thanks to the LongFi technology, and in return, you actually get rewarded with their cryptocurrency known as HNT, or otherwise Helium. Now, in total, both of these miners that I have brought in around $954 in about 4 months. And I know that doesn't necessarily sound like a lot, but let me explain, and then maybe I can clear things up. Now, in actuality, that $954 isn't so important compared to the amount of tokens I was actually able to mine, which was 39.8 Helium tokens. Now, given that alt season ended and the price of Helium, as well as every single cryptocurrency on the planet, pretty much drastically fell, and the price declined as well, it really doesn't matter as much about the price. Now, Helium's November high, for example, was $52.71, making my 39.8 tokens worth $2,097 at the time. As you guys can see, it makes more sense to actually look at how many tokens that you can accumulate rather than the price, especially in a down market like the one we're entering. My strategy is to accumulate as many tokens as I can at these low prices in preparation for when the market actually decides to turn and we start to see the market break out. Now, with that being said, to break down how I got those tokens becomes a little more complicated. Now, first and foremost, the first miner I got was the Bobcat, which right out the box was great. There wasn't much competition in my hexagon, so I was actually earning a lot more in the beginning, but the problem was as time moved on, Helium became more and more popular, which you would think is a good thing, but my hexagon actually started to increase in neighboring miners, causing me to actually earn less tokens, which is a problem. Now, eventually, a month later, I decided to buy my minted miner, and that came in, and the reason I bought it is actually because of how accessible they are, unlike the Bobcat, which is taking 3 to 4 months just to receive it after you purchase it for pre-order. So the cool thing is that the minted miner doesn't actually work on pre-orders and will actually ship immediately once you purchase it. Regardless, even if you can't even pick one up during the drop, don't worry because they are selling them resale on eBay and Amazon and even in like Facebook motor groups. So it is something to look out for. So basically, even if you can snag one of these for a good price resale, it really is worth it. And that's actually what I did. I bought these resale off of eBay, and honestly, they're about to pay themselves off even with the premium that I paid. At first thought, when I received my minted miner, I figured I could just set it up in another room in my apartment, but I soon learned on Reddit that it's actually a bad idea. Setting up 2 miners of my own in my hexagon would actually cause my miners to compete with each other and steal each other's profits, which means owning 2 is actually a complete waste of money, regardless of the brand, unless you have another place for them. Fortunately, to my luck, my friend actually let me set one up in his room and in a similar neighborhood to the one that I currently live in. And honestly, the earnings were pretty bad. Nothing actually compared to the Bobcat, even though the miner itself was great. The setup was super easy. It started right up, and it took honestly a couple minutes to sync to the network, unlike my Bobcat, which took days and hours and hours and hours. Now, eventually, I actually realized that the 2.3 dBi antenna, which was stock on the minted miner, was actually the problem for a suburban area. And so what I did was I bought a 5.8 dBi for my Bobcat, and then I actually used the stock 4 dBi antenna that the Bobcat comes with, and I put it on the minted. To no surprise, this actually made a huge difference to both, allowing the minted to bring in about $10 a day compared to its previous $3 a day. And as expected, the Bobcat drastically outperformed the minted, typically bringing in about $15 a day with the new antenna. So basically the key takeaway is location, 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 and get the right antenna. Now the last few weeks, however, haven't been that great. I took my minted back from my friend as I'm going to be moving locations. And as for the Bobcat, new miners have pretty much popped up in my hex, causing me to only bring in about $6 a day. So when I do end up moving apartments, I'm going to be setting these up in different areas and hopefully I can get some more rewards. I've also noticed that Helium tends to have bugs in their network quite often. Because of this, there are days where you will only make a few cents until they fix the bug. But all in all, Helium itself is still a must-have for your collection. With only a total supply of 223 million and half of it already mined, it's definitely a coin to have. Being that at one point each coin was less than $1, the sky's the limit to how much the price can actually grow. And there are actually some cases where Helium has turned people into millionaires from just a small $400 miner investment. And that's miner as in what you can use, not actually miner as in MINOR. Another thing to keep in mind that many people don't notice is that there are many new IoT projects that are hitting the market and actually using Helium's network, which adds even more utility and real use case to its project. Now, moving on to the third and what could be the best IoT miner is called the MatchX M2 Pro, which I linked in the description down below for you to check out. Now, this was the first miner I picked up about 4 months ago, and it's still running strong. This miner within itself has a lot of controversy due to its similar style to Helium. However, this miner has consistently made me $10 to $14 a day, which I can't say the same for any other miner that I have, and it's been online every single day, unlike my Helium miners. And not only that, it's been the only token to continuously grow over the past 4 months. So guys, since November, Bitcoin and crypto have been on a decline, and this has directly affected the performance of Helium, which at its high was $52 and is now sitting at roughly $22, which is borderline a 60% drop. It is directly correlated with the altcoin market, which isn't a bad thing. However, However, the MXC token doesn't actually seem to be getting affected. In those same 4 months that Helium fell 60%, MXC has managed to grow from 4 cents a coin to 11 cents a coin, which is an incredible return on a token that consistently pays out the same $10 to $14 a day. Now, since October 17th until today, February 24th, at the time I'm recording this, I have earned roughly 24,322 tokens, which at the current rate is about 0.08397, about a little over 8 cents a coin, and totals about $2,042, which is about $510 a month, which I can't say the same for any other miner. Now, the miner itself, I know, costs roughly $2,800, which is a lot up front, but if you do use the link down in the description below, you can receive $50 off at checkout, which is super cool, so definitely make sure to check it out down below. Regardless, I know up front that does sound like a lot of money, but in another month and a half, my miner will actually be breaking even, and everything moving forward will be all for profit. And I've also noticed that a lot of people have been picking these miners up in the recent time, so definitely take advantage of the fact that they are still in stock, as they are probably going to be sold out in the very near future. Now, guys, obviously with all the pros, there definitely comes some cons, and the only downside that I've seen to the M2 Pro is their rules about their token halving and the miner health, which is pretty much the only complaints you hear within the community. Now, in contrast, the Helium token has halvings every 2 years, which means every 2 years your miner will actually mine half of the number of tokens compared to what it did before, assuming no other changes are seen, and this follows similarly to what Bitcoin does, which halves every 4 years. Helium will mine every 2 years, extending the use case of the miners and the amount of mined tokens. So guys, the difference is the MXC token does not and will never have halvings, and the amount of MXC tokens your M2 Pro miner mines depends exactly on the price of the MXC token. Now, it currently mines $10 to $14 in MXC tokens every day, so if the price of the MXC token is lower, you will mine more tokens, and if the price is higher, you will mine less tokens. And this has happened to me, when in the beginning I was mining 200 tokens, 300 tokens a day, and it then started to drop down to 100 tokens a day as the price has literally doubled in the past 4 months. But needless to say, think of these miners as long-term investments and you'll be okay. People who want to make money fast and to be able to use that money fast will be disincentivized with the M2 Pro, as your miner health lowers your miner's efficiency the moment you take your mined tokens out of your M2 Pro miner, which means that you will be mining at less power, which means you'll earn less tokens, and it does take a while to build that health back up. Now, the MXC team has made these updates for a reason, and this is basically to make the network stable and secure, which is basically the whole point of the M2 Pro miner network, and these updates ensure the network's sustainability and stability over the long run. And they also incentivize miners to hold the MXC token, which greatly positively influences the MXC price, and I've said it before, I bought these miners and set them up as long-term holds and have no intention of taking profits anytime soon. Now, basically, the M2 Pro miner is a multi-token miner as well, and mines MXC, DHX, Bitcoin, and Polkadot, unlike Helium, which is just the H&T token. But personally, I don't mind any others because I find that it mines MXC the best over the other cryptocurrencies available. So overall, the M2 Pro miner has been so far the best performing miner that I own. Also, another perk before I forget about the M2 Pro miner is that the miner can be used anywhere in the world and doesn't compete with other miners in the area. And this allows for multiple M2 Pro miners in the same house, unlike the Helium network. And from what I've been told, it actually allows up to 4 miners to work at full strength right next to each other, which is incredible. However, there are signs in the app that the team could eventually roll out restrictions on location and the miner space, so that is something to be aware of. Now, truthfully, it seems like Helium is more of an open system where a lot of variables affect the performance and price of the token, while the M2 Pro miner seems to be closed. The price actually seems regulated, and the antennas have no effect on the performance, and neither does your location. Rural or suburban or even urban really doesn't matter. So if you live in a farm or even in the city and there's tons next to you, it makes no difference. Now, finally, guys, last but not least, the fourth plug-and-play miner is the Aware Element, and this miner is an air quality sensor that sends and receives data on the LoRaWAN blockchain. The data collected in the room is used for research, and in exchange you are rewarded with the PlanetWatch tokens. Now, PlanetWatch is built on the very energy-efficient LoRaWAN blockchain and uses AI-based data analysis to deploy real-time sensor networks and deliver hyper-local, street-level, business-grade environmental data quickly and cost-effectively. Now, saving its data on an immutable blockchain, their plan shares a similar concept with Helium in that they are rewarding the user in crypto with their contribution to the network. And this is the most recent miner I picked up in the beginning of December, so I've only been using it for about 3 months. Now, this miner in particular was much harder to set up compared to others, given a license must be purchased in order to start mining the Planet token. Now, I'm not going to get into the setup in today's video, however, I did make a video on it, which you can see here. With the altcoin market down, I've mined a total of $245 worth of Planet tokens in the past 3 months. Now this is equal to around 1,776 tokens, and the coin at its peak during my time owning the miner was about 39 cents, making the tokens worth about $692. Now with the bear market currently underway, the tokens have since dropped off to a measly 13 cents, which is fine by me as it gives me a chance to earn some tokens at an incredibly discounted rate in preparation for our hope of another bull market to the upside. The miner itself typically pays about 16 tokens a day, and only a few days I've experienced low payouts. However, the past few days, the payouts have been around 23 tokens, which is much higher than I experienced before. Overall, these are the 4 current miners I have, and they were all on track to break even within the next 2 or 3 months. Now, needless to say, I have no intentions of cashing out any of the profits made from these miners, and I also plan on making progress videos in the future to see how they have performed. Now, each miner has its own pros and cons that continue to change as time goes on, but in my mind, diversifying into multiple IoT miners increases my chances of having a successful portfolio in the future and preparing myself for the next crypto bull run. With that being said, guys, that about wraps up today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.